Hola, profe, buenos días, bienvenida, buenas tardes ya.
Gracias, ¿cómo está?
Bueno, muy buenas tardes a todos, les doy la cordial bienvenida a la clase de interpretación simultánea. Comparto con ustedes algunos parámetros de las secciones por videoconferencia. Las secciones se graban, pueden verlas nuevamente en la plataforma virtual. Les solicitamos que por favor silencien sus micrófonos, puedan activarlos cuando quieran hacer consultas o aportes con el permiso del docente. Le pedimos que mantengan su cámara activa. De no poder hacerlo, enviar su excusa por el chat de Zoom. De lo contrario, será retirada la sección. Le serán restados puntos en la valoración del docente. Mi rol como moderadora es facilitar y apoyar en la parte técnica. Consultas por el chat personal o general. Les exhorto a tener bolígrafo y papel para hacer sus anotaciones. Aprovechar al máximo esa sección que tiene una duración de 2 horas. Bienvenidos.
Gracias, Elizabeth. Me das un segundito porque le estaba comentando ay, ¿cómo se llama? Lilibet
Sí,
que
profe. A Lili
no,
B.
ajá, no tenía internet en la casa porque llovió.
Ah,
Entonces,
ok, profe.
entonces eso fue lo que me estaba tardando. Y desconecté el router porque parece que ya como que estaba volviendo, pero sabes que cuando se va él tarda como que un poquito en coger fuerza, como quien dice,
Ajá.
y no me
Sí,
han
profe, tranquila,
terminado.
tómese su tiempo.
Es que no me ha
Tranquila.
terminado de descargar el correo para poder sacar el PPT. Así que me das
Sí,
unos minutos
profe, porque
de
yo pensé
carga.
era como es clase reprogramada, pensé que no se acordaba de pronto.
No, sí me acordaba. Lo que pasa es que yo vengo llegando, yo le comenté a Lilibet que podía a las 4 de la tarde, porque yo llegaba de vuelo esta madrugada. Bueno, no en la madrugada, llegué a las 7:40 de vuelo y me fui directo para Colón a la iglesia. Y ponte que como 10 minutos antes de las 4 llegué a la casa de la iglesia, la actividad que teníamos el último culto del año, intercambio de regalo y demás.
Sí,
Entonces,
profe.
cuando llego, no, el internet no estaba funcionando. Y allí fue que me demoré en eso. Entonces, ahora que desconecté el router y que ya conectó, entonces todavía no, como que no termina de cargar bien, que los correos están ahorita hasta los de antes de ayer. Todavía ni los de ayer ni los de hoy han terminado de cargar. Así que estoy esperando eso nada más para poder compartir el PowerPoint porque no lo tengo. Pues yo no sé si usted lo tiene, si de pronto me lo quiera, si lo tiene y me lo puede compartir porque es que no me avanza. Mire que se queda aquí hasta antes de ayer. Es el correo más reciente que tengo es de antes de ayer. No sé por qué.
Profe, se lo presento entonces.
Sí, porque mire que no carga hasta antes de ayer. Es lo único que
Espere,
sucede.
yo lo descargo ya.
Ajá. Déjeme dejar de compartir. Y disculpe.
Profe, espérate un momentico, yo lo pido en coordinación.
No lo tienen tampoco. Déjeme ver si por acá lo puedo descargar en el teléfono. Ya, va, vamos a ver. Sí, ya, Elizabeth, déjeme mandármelo a la computadora. En el teléfono sí me aparece acá en la computadora nada. Me lo estoy pasando ya a la computadora.
Ya, profe.
Ya está, acá en el teléfono me parece que ya se me mandó acá a la computadora, pero como el internet de la computadora no está muy bueno, creo que es eso lo que está dilatado. Ahí llegó, ya me llegó. Aquí lo tengo. Ujú. A ver, ahí se está pegando. Es que con esta lluvia yo pensé que el invierno había terminado, la época de lluvia pensé que ya se había acabado, pero ¿qué va? No deja de llover. Ok. Okay, so this is a good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. This is our session number 9. This is our last module, module number 5. And during this module, we will be talking about scientific and technical fields. Remember that we have been studying different fields in which you can apply the interpretation. So we discuss about laws, the court, medical field, um, business, how to translate or interpret in those fields. But today, in our last module, that is the number 5, we will see scientific and technical fields, okay? Now, learning is not attained by chance, must be sought for with ardor and diligence. Instructions. To commence your distance learning journey successfully, it is important to follow to these instructions, as they are designed to enhance your learning experience. Begin by selecting a comfortable environment with ample lighting and minimal distractions. Consider turning off the television and cell phone if necessary. Once settled, engage in the self-confident exercise. Repeat the affirmations twice. I can, I am capable, I will learn. Once carefully review the objective provided. They serve as a guide to understanding what you aim to learn. Avoid rushing ahead. Follow the established order for task and refrain from moving on to the next task until you have completed the previous one. Actively participate in the scheduled video conference sessions. The relevant links can be found on the virtual platform. Okay, so these are the instructions as in every sessions, okay? Now, introduction. Welcome to an exploration of the key role that interpreters play in the fields of science and technology. In today's fast-paced world of science and technology, interpreters play a crucial role in bridging language gaps, ensuring that complex ideas are communicated accurately across cultures. Their work facilitates global collaboration in research and innovation, helping experts from diverse backgrounds share knowledge and drive progress. This course will explore the vital contributions of interpreters, emphasizing the importance of precision and dedication in achieving success. Okay, so we will explore. Remember that we are living in a technological era in which technology is like ruling the world, and there are many not only technological advances but also advances in science. So we will see how can interpreters play an crucial role in these fields, okay? In these particular fields. Now, learning objective. Upon completion of this module, participants will be able to explain how interpreters contribute to scientific and technical progress by ensuring that experts from different language backgrounds can collaborate effectively, exchange knowledge, and drive innovation in these fields. Demonstrate proficiency in the specialized terminology used in scientific and technical fields in both the source and target languages. Remember that this is very important. You need to master these two terms. What is the source language and what is the target language? So I'm going to stop sharing here because I want to show you something, okay? Just let me find it before I show you. This is very important, and we have been talking about this since the very beginning, since our first session. We have been mentioning a target language, source language, and for me, it's important that you master and that you know what it means, okay? So let's see. Give me just 1 second, and I'm going to show you. Okay.
What is the source language? What is the target language? Hi, I'm Danette. Welcome to Interpreting Simplified. Bienvenidos a mi canal. What is the source language? What is the target language? While this may be obvious to some of us because we're already medical interpreters or we've already done research into the medical interpreting profession, it may not be obvious to everybody, especially somebody who's just starting to explore the possibility of becoming a medical interpreter. So I'm going to give you a very brief, simple explanation because you're going to come across this verbiage throughout your certification journey. The source language is the language that is being spoken, and the target language is the language that you're interpreting into. So if somebody speaks English and you have to interpret it into Spanish, the source language would be the English language and the target language would be the Spanish. When the Spanish speaker replies, that now becomes the source language, and your target language is what you're going to interpret it into. So any language that you're interpreting to and from, remember that the source language is what was spoken, and the target language is the language that you're going to interpret it into. I hope this was helpful, and like I always say, if I can do this, anybody can do this. Don't forget to subscribe, it's free. And share these videos with your friends or anybody who's interested in becoming a certified medical interpreter. Also, don't forget to check out the link below so you can get access to our very helpful checklist to help you through the certification process. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Okay, so this is very simple, okay? So the source language is the language that is spoken in the place where you are, and the target language is the language that you are going to interpret, okay? If, for example, if you are in Brazil, the source language will be Portuguese, okay? Because you are in Brazil. But if you are going to interpret from Portuguese to English, English will be the target language because that's the language that you are going to interpret, okay? So try to keep this in your mind, okay? Let's continue. Now, functions of interpreters. Interpreters play a crucial role in the scientific and technical field world by facilitating communication across languages and ensuring the success of international collaboration. The responsibilities go beyond simple translation and include, we have, make it possible for scientists to work together. Not only scientists, but researchers and engineers from different countries. And the idea is helping them to work together. In today's globalized world, these experts often need to talk to each other. Interpreters help them have meetings and discussion by translating what each person says. This helps everyone understand each other and makes it easier to do scientific research and create new technologies. Because sometimes we have very important scientifics, right? That they have been working in different investigations and research. So interpreters help these scientists to work together with the engineers, with some researchers, so they can like put together all the pieces that they have been working and studying through many years and have a meeting or discussion in order to create new things. Okay, could be new technologies, new medicines, new cures for different diseases. Okay, now another responsibility is to make sure that the information is translated accurately and precisely. In the scientific and technical fields, even a small mistake can cause big problems. Interpreters are trained to translate complex technical information very carefully so that there are no misunderstandings. Remember that in the scientific and technical fields, there is used a very wide vocabulary that usually are not the words that you commonly use in your daily conversations or in your daily life. So you will find some complex terms. I don't know if this happens to you, but sometimes, even though in Spanish, there are some scientific and technological terms that we don't have an idea what they are. Now, can you imagine this in English? So let's move on. This is especially important when talking about complicated scientific ideas, research findings, or engineering details. Help spread knowledge around the world. Sometimes important discoveries and technical information are only available in one language. This is true, okay? This is so true. Interpreters translate these things into many languages so that more people can benefit from them. This helps share knowledge globally and encourages people from different countries to work together to solve big problems, okay? So sometimes there are very important like research or investigations that have been done from somebody, and it's just in one language. So interpreters can also translate these documents into different languages in order to benefit other scientists or engineers or researchers because they don't speak the language that the document in which the document was written on, okay? Then we have aid with following rules and staying safe. In technical fields like engineering, manufacturing, and healthcare, there are important safety rules that must be followed. Interpreters make sure that professionals understand these rules and follow them correctly. This reduces the risk of accidents and makes sure everyone is doing things the right way, okay? Another is help with teaching and learning technical stuff. Sometimes experts go to other countries to teach or learn new skills. Interpreters help with the teaching by translating what the teacher is saying, making it easier for students to understand. This helps transfer knowledge and skills across borders, making education better. Okay, so sometimes the scientists or the engineers are not teaching, but sometimes they are in different countries learning a new skill in order to use this new skill to work together with the knowledge and the skills that they already have, okay? And because they are in another country and they don't speak that language, interpreters help them to acquire the knowledge in their native language, okay? So interpreters are incredibly important in the scientific and technical fields. They help people communicate across languages, ensure technical information is accurate, spread knowledge globally, ensure safety and compliancy, support education, and make international presentation possible. Their work is vital for advancing science, technology, and global cooperation in these important fields. So now let's move on. What words that interpreters commonly use? Vamos a ver algunas de las palabras que más los intérpretes usan. We have accurate. Y esta es una palabra que yo he estado usando bastante durante lo que son las presentaciones de la clase. Ok, accurate. Cuando hablamos de accurate, quiere decir something that is precise or without errors, okay? Then we have ambiguity. That means lack of clarity or uncertainty. We have analyze, that is examine in detail. Calibrate means adjust or standardize equipment. Catalyst is a substance that speeds up chemical reactions. Conductivity, ability to conduct electricity or heat. Deduce, infer or conclude from evidence. Efficiency, measure of effectiveness. Emission, release of substances into the environment. Experimental, relating to a test or trial. Si ustedes estuvieran aquí en clase, hubiéramos practicado estas palabras, cómo se usan en contexto, ¿ok? Words that interpreters commonly use. We have formulate. Formulate means create or develop. Genealogy is the study of ancestry. Hypothesis, that is an assumption or educated guess. Innovative, introducing new ideas or methods. Kinetic, relating to motion or movement. Laser, device that emits focused light. Molecule is the smallest unit of a chemical compound. Nanotechnology is the science of manipulating atoms. Observation, act of watching or noting details. Paradigm is a model or framework. We have quantum. Quantum is relating to subatomic particles. Radiation is an emission of energy in waves of or particles. Synthesize, combine to create something new. Thermodynamics, study of heat and energy transfer. Velocity, speed and direction of an object's movement. Waves form, it's shape of a wave, okay? Wave es ola, ¿no? Xenon, inert gas used in lighting. Yield, produce or provide. Zeolite, porous mineral used for filtration. Aberration, deviation from the norm. These are some expressions that interpreters can use in this field, the scientific and technological field. Let me clarify that point for you. Could you please repeat that? The data indicates, as per the research findings, in accordance with the hypothesis, the experiment yielded these results. To put it simply, this equation represents we need to control for variable the scientific method involves, okay? These are some other expressions. Now, not just words, but expressions that you can use in this field. Please provide more context. Based on the empirical evidence, this is a pivotal discovery. The research is still in progress. We should conduct a peer review. Let's analyze the data together. The theory posits that the implications are significant. This is a groundbreaking study. Our objective is to determine, okay? So you can have here words and phrases that you can use in this field. Now let's watch the video.
Daremos, muévete, luz verde. Daremos, muévete, luz verde.
Hello, and happy International Translation Day. Translators and interpreters power the global economy. You may not see us at work, but we're behind the scenes helping the world communicate. Translators work with the written word, adapting written content from one language to another. Let's take a look at what a typical day looks like for a translator. Gaku is an English to Japanese translator. Here we see him working on Japanese subtitles for the latest episode of a binge-worthy show. Marina is an English to Spanish translator. She's translating a brochure for a Scottish art museum that's marketing towards Spanish tourists. John often edits German to English translations. Right now, he's working on a legal contract for a German bank that has branches in the US. Now, let's take a look at a day in the life of an interpreter. Interpreters work with spoken or sign language, helping people who don't speak the same language to communicate. Wayan is an Indonesian interpreter at a hospital in Bali. He's interpreting for an American who broke his leg while rock climbing. Annette and Jean are simultaneous interpreters. They're interpreting a French delegate's speech at the European Union headquarters. Sarah is a Somalian court interpreter. Today, she's working at a courthouse in Minnesota, interpreting for a witness to a crime. Both translators and interpreters are like bridges that connect different languages and cultures. We love our jobs, and we're excited to share a glimpse of our day with you. Thanks for tuning in.
Okay, so basically this video shows you and I the importance of translators or interpreters, okay, in our daily life, in our like nowadays, okay. So before we check this, I'm going to show you a video in which, remember that this is the last module. So next week we will finish with this module. But before that, antes de eso, you will see, you saw almost five fields according to the modules in which you can put into practice interpreters. But I'm going to show you here another fields that you can check to see how interpreters works, okay? But now in different areas. So pay attention to this.
There are a huge number of different types of translation. In fact, we've identified 51 of them in one of our blog articles, and they're just the common ones you're likely to come across. Of those 51, we can identify 13 types based on the subject area of the text or the text.
Oh my goodness.
There are a huge number of different types of translation. In fact, we've identified 51 of them in one of our blog articles, and they're just the common ones you're likely to come across. Of those 51, we can identify 13 types based on the subject area of the text or the technical field, if you like. Now, this is important because these texts require translators with specialist knowledge. In this video, I'm going to quickly run through those 13 types of translation and tell you what you need to know about them. Keep watching. Our first type is technical translation. So what's that? In its broader sense, this can refer to any translation where the translator needs specialist knowledge. So it would include almost all the other translation types we're going to discuss here. But in a more specific sense, it refers only to translations of engineering, IT, and industrial texts. Now, whichever definition we use, what's relevant is that the translator must have expertise in that subject area. Why? Because without it, they may not completely or correctly understand the text or its implications, which means that they may not produce a fully accurate and appropriate translation. In practical terms, this means a translator would typically either have a qualification or several years' experience in that technical field. Scientific translation refers to the translation of scientific research or documents relating to it, so research papers, journal articles, trial results, and so on. These texts invariably contain domain-specific terminology, so again, translators need expertise in that area. Plus, these documents will often include leading-edge research, so the translator may have to consult with other domain experts or even the author himself to fully comprehend the material. Our third translation type is medical translation, which is a translation of healthcare, medical product, pharmaceutical, and biotechnology materials. Now, this covers a huge variety of specialist areas and materials, everything from patient information to regulatory, marketing, and technical documentation. So it goes without saying that a translator with a medical background will be needed for many of these texts. And interesting here is that many countries have specific requirements for the translation of medical device and pharmaceutical documentation, both for what information must be included and how this has to be presented. Financial translation is a translation of banking, stock exchange, foreign exchange, financing, and financial reporting documents, but only the specialized materials in those fields, so not a bank statement, for example, that any competent translator could handle. Again, the assumption is a translator will need knowledge and experience with these types of documents to firstly understand them fully and then translate them correctly using the right vocabulary and style. Our fifth type, economic translations, is mostly just another term for the financial translations we've just discussed, but it can also be used in a more specific way to refer to the translation of documents relating to the economy and the field of economics. And of course, many of these documents will be a challenge for any translator who hadn't formally studied economics. Next is legal translation. That's the translation of documents relating to the law and legal process. Examples here would be contracts, legal reports, court judgments, expert opinions, and legislation itself. Now, legal translation is tricky because the differences between different legal systems mean translators often have to translate concepts that don't exist in their own legal system. And this is on top of the challenges of always having to use the precise, legally correct translation for every term and write in legal style, which explains why legal translators are true specialists who will almost always have a degree in law and experience working in the legal field. Type 7, juridical translation, is mostly just another term for legal translation. However, it can also refer to translations needing some form of legal verification, certification, or notarization that is common in many countries and jurisdictions. And judicial translation is a third term commonly used as a synonym for legal translation. But again, it can have a more technical meaning, referring specifically to the translation of court proceeding documentation, so judgments, minutes, testimonies, and so on. At a minimum, a translator for these documents will need to be familiar with court processes, but a legal background is generally advisable. Our ninth type is patent translation. This is the translation of intellectual property and patent-related documents. So, what's the challenge in translating these? Firstly, patents can be highly technical, so technical expertise may be needed. Secondly, patents use established terminology such as prior art and claims that must be translated in the correct way. And thirdly, they have a distinct structure and require total consistency of wording throughout. Now, this is important because by instinct, translators tend to want to avoid repeating themselves. So what this means is that for patents, you need translators who have been trained in the specific requirements of patent translation. Our next type, literary translation, is the translation of literary works, so novels, short stories, plays, essays, poems, etc. Now, literary translation is widely regarded as the most difficult form of translation. Why is that? Because it involves way more than simply conveying the meaning in an appropriate style. Somehow, the translator must also reproduce the flavour, subtlety, and impact of the original, the essence of what makes that work unique. Now, this requires a translator with exceptional creative writing skills, which is why it's often said a literary translation should be a literary work in its own right. Commercial translations and business translation are two very generic terms for the translation of documents in the world of business. It's a very wide-reaching translation type. It can include a translation of legal, financial, technical, as well as a huge range of more general business documents. This means that different translators will be needed for different document types, specialists for technical texts and generalist translators for non-specialist materials. Plus, some documents like management reports and proposals can include a lot of jargon and management speak, so we'll need a translator who is used to writing in that style. Our final type is the translation of advertising, marketing, and promotional materials, commonly simply referred to as marketing translations. Now, these texts are designed to have a specific impact on the audience, to appeal and persuade, so the translation needs to do this too. This can be quite a challenge. Often a direct translation won't achieve this, so translators need to adapt their wording to produce the impact the text is seeking. And sometimes a completely new message might be needed. This is what we call transcreation, which we'll discuss in another video. Now, the key thing about marketing translations is they require translators who are skilled writers with a flair for producing persuasive, impactful copy. So there you have it, 13 common types of translation based on the subject area of the text. The key theme running through all of them is they require translators who are familiar with the subject matter. Without this, they may not fully understand the text and therefore translate it correctly, and they may not use quite the right vocabulary or technical writing style. Intrigued about the rest of our 51 translation types? Then head over to our blog article where we take you through the complete list, and have a look at our other video featuring 9 translation types that require exceptional know-how and expertise.
Okay, so guys, if you see, there are different fields. No significa que los únicos campos o áreas en los que nosotros hemos visto que los intérpretes pueden trabajar durante este curso de Interpretación Simultánea 2, no quiere decir que esos son los únicos. Nosotros vimos 5 módulos, pero hay diferentes campos en los que los intérpretes pueden trabajar. Son muchos, no es solamente en estos 5. Sabemos que estos son como los más amplios o los que más se utilizan. Business, legal, medical field, scientific, technology. Okay, those are fields that interpreters works a lot with. But those are not the only fields that interpreters can work. Puedes hacerlo en muchos campos distintos. Entonces, ¿qué es lo que necesitamos? Siempre vengo recalcando esto para poder trabajar en los diferentes campos. Have a vocabulary, okay? Have an appropriate vocabulary according to the field that you are going to be working in. He conocido a personas que tienen un nivel de inglés muy, muy bueno, una pronunciación muy bonita. Sin embargo, a la hora de interpretar se vuelven un 8. Y no es porque sean malos haciendo esto, es porque no tenemos el vocabulario adecuado para el campo en que estoy interpretando. So this is very important. It doesn't matter if you have a good pronunciation, if you have a good intonation, if your accent it's like a native. Lo que importa, what really matters is to have the vocabulary phrases according to the field that you are interpreting, okay? So try to keep this in mind. Remember that you will have for this module, vamos a tener como siempre, an activity in which you will have to listen and interpret. Another thing that you have to do is to say your name. You have to mention your name before starting the interpretation. Don't forget that. And you will have a test. This is our last activity. No quiere decir que me voy a poner a hacer la actividad ya, no. Pero para que sepan que, bueno, en este curso en particular, ustedes han tenido, como quien dice, la misma actividad en los 5 módulos, que es escuchar e interpretar. Porque obviamente ustedes están estudiando para ser intérpretes. Entonces, aquí ustedes van practicando con eso. Y aparte del test, que es sobre conocimientos generales, los módulos, si se dieron cuenta, en la plataforma son bastante cortos, no es demasiado contenido, es bastante easy going, y lo bueno es que los módulos incluyen esto que yo les estoy diciendo, vocabulary, los términos, the terminology, according to the different fields, okay? So if you have questions, remember that you can open a consulting forum and I will be glad to help you out. En esta sesión, pues, Elizabeth, nosotros desde que empezamos el curso no hemos tenido participación de los estudiantes. Así que, bueno, como no hay participación de ellos, los módulos son bastante cortos también en la parte de la teoría, entonces ya acabamos lo que es la primera mitad del último módulo y la próxima semana culminaríamos con el módulo 5, sesión número 10. Así que si tienen alguna pregunta, consulta, comentario, pueden abrir un foro de consulta y con mucho gusto les voy a estar atendiendo. Vamos a dar entonces por terminada la sesión, ya que no tenemos participación de los estudiantes.
Profe, bueno, muchísimas gracias entonces a todos también por su participación el día de hoy. Les deseo un feliz año. Profe,
Gracias, Elizabeth.
bendiciones.
Igual para usted, muchas bendiciones.